Hello and welcome to another manga spotlight. So this is probably gonna completely butcher this name, but Kage no Jitsuryu Kusha ni Naritakuri, I think. I don't know. I probably completely got that wrong. The English translation is The Eminence in Shadow. It also goes by the name To Be a Power in the Shadows, and this is based off of a light novel. And this is another isekai. Yes, I know I've been doing a lot of isekai spotlights lately, but yeah, this is Eminence in Shadow. It is an isekai, and it is a comedic take on the isekai genre. So let's just jump right into this. So basically, we start off with our hero. His name is Sid. So Sid always wanted to be what he calls the Eminence in Shadow. So basically, he doesn't want to be the hero. He doesn't want to be like the final boss. He wants to be the guy who basically shows up, saves the day, and then kind of disappears, and no one kind of knows who he is. He's kind of like the mysterious figure. I guess the best way to describe this character would be Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon. Tuxedo Mask isn't the hero. He's not a villain. He just kind of shows up, kind of saved, kind of does something to save the hero, help the hero out, and then kind of disappears mysteriously. Though to be honest, it's like, how much help did he actually give? He kind of just shows up, throws a rose, and then disappears. Plus, Tuxedo Mask is like the lamest name ever. It's like, oh, why is your name Tuxedo Mask? Oh, because I wore a tuxedo and a mask. But that's neither here or there. So anyways, he wants to be that kind of character. So he trains. He basically, he lifts a bunch of weights, which I thought was hilarious. Made him like super buff. So his whole thing is he wants to operate behind the scenes. He wants to be like a shadow. He wants to be mysterious. He wants to be that character that no one pays attention to. Meanwhile, he's like super jacked and everyone's just kind of like staring at him. But he realizes that physical strength isn't everything. What he needs actually is magic. So he basically decides to learn magic. So he learns magic from sages. He does Buddhist stuff. He prays the gods, goes under temples, waterfalls, tries to learn Buddhism, yoga, all that stuff. But Sid lives in our world. And as you guys know, there is no magic in our world. But he tries anyways. Until one day, he sees a glowing light and he thinks, this is it. This is the magic I've been looking for. So he rushes towards it, and it turns out it's just a truck. And that's how he dies. And he gets reborn. And here he is. Here's Sid, reborn in this magical world. Sid's pretty hilarious in the sense that Sid is very overpowered. Like a lot of my Sekai series, Sid is OP as hell. But he plays the act of mediocrity. He plays the buffoon. He plays the idiot. He plays the weakling because he doesn't want any attention on him. He wants to be the shadow character. He wants to just be someone who blends in the background, someone who no one notices really. So one day Sid's going out and he's going to take on some bandits. So we have some bandits here, and Sid shows up and he's just fucking crazy, like, woo fucking who, evening bitches, if you want to live, show me your valuables. Sid's the kind of guy who he's basically a chuuni. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's like a phenomenon, I guess, in Japan, where like teenagers, like usually like around 12, 13, basically they play out fantasies, but they act like it's real. So like they'll say that they have magical powers, and they kind of act like they do, but they really don't. So Sid basically is that, only grown up and now in this world where he actually does have magical powers. But Sid basically he acts the part of what he thinks the shadow character should be, which is pretty freaking hilarious. So yeah, he's not the kind of protagonist that most shonen series have. Like characters who like you can kind of, kids can kind of look up to. He's someone who kind of like indulges in the violence, and he plays it as if it's a game. So he's going around here and he's attacking a bunch of bandits, but he's making himself out to be a hero, which I guess technically is since they're bandits. But he's portraying them as more evil than they are, And I mean, he's taking pleasure in killing them, but he's still kind of supposed to be the good guy. This is pretty interesting twist, and it gets a little more complicated later on. But he wipes out the bandits, and then he finds this elf, and the elf is kind of like decomposed. She's still alive though, and basically, what these characters are, they're called possessed. I'll just read this here. So possessed is a mysterious illness that causes the body to rot and eventually leads to death. The church takes these possessed so they can be, as they put it, purified. But that's only to retain the support of the masses. In reality, they massacred them all, or so some rumors say. So this elf has been possessed. She's basically rotting, and she's gonna die. And Sid uses his magical powers to basically cure her. She basically says, like, I don't know how to express my gratitude. I'm gonna devote my life to you. And at first he's like, nah, I don't think I want that. But then after a while he thinks, maybe I can use this. And he decides to use this. This is the part where that gets pretty funny. So basically Sid, he makes this bullshit story. He calls himself the Shadow Garden. He says that their goal is to prevent the resurrection of the demon Diablos. Sid basically creates this story about this. Well, he uses the demon Diablos, which is an actual like fantasy story told to kids and stuff like that. It's like a myth, but he makes it if it's real. He creates this cult called the Cult of Diablos that worship this demon, and the cult are behind the possessed illness. And he is the leader of the Shadow Garden. We lurk in the shadows and we hunt the shadows, and their job is to take on the Diablos cult. And the elf buys it. She completely buys this bullshit story, and she, dedicates her life to taking on the cause of the Shadow Garden. I thought this is kind of funny. He's like, nailed it. She was really into this. From her reaction alone, you wouldn't know that this was just an improvised act. So he basically makes this bullshit story. She buys it, and then he goes about his day. And then in the near future, his sister ends up getting kidnapped. Basically, Beta shows up. So the first girl that we saw, he names her Alpha, and this is Beta. And basically, what happened is he has gained 7 members for his Shadow Garden. It's kind of happened behind the scenes. We don't actually see him gaining them. Basically, Alpha goes out and she gains members. And she gains members by telling them this story, and they all buy it. So his bullshit story about this evil cult worshiping this demon and infecting people with this illness, they buy it. And all of a sudden, his bullshit story about this bullshit Shadow Garden ends up becoming a real thing, and now he's actually the leader of the Shadow Garden. And in his mind, he's thinking, oh, they're just humoring me. They're role playing. They're basically indulging my fantasy. But to them, they're not playing around. They're actually serious. They actually buy his story. So they're actually going out and doing stuff like gathering information on the Diablos cults, gathering members, setting down foundations for like businesses that they can use as a front to gain money and influence and information. So they're doing all these stuff behind the scenes and actually gaining power. And meanwhile, he thinks that they're just role playing, they're just bullshitting around, because that's what he's doing. So we get this it's this really freaking hilarious like comedy in that sense. So Beta shows up, and they're trying to find the sister. And she's like, take a look at these documents. Their hideout is likely in the north. And Sid, trying to be all badass, basically just throws his knife on the map. He's like, that's where they're at. And as you can see here, randomly throw a knife. So he throws a knife and it lands in the south. He's just, again, he's bullshitting. He has no idea where his sister is. He just threw a knife randomly on a map, and he's like, that's where they're at. And the elves buy it. They're like, oh, he must have like information that we don't have. So he's like, yeah, the base in the north is a fake. The real one is in the south. And They're like, wow, you were able to analyze all these documents and assess their hidden meaning in an instant. And he's like, no, he's actually just bullshitting. He has no idea where the fuck they're at. He just threw a knife randomly on the map. And it turns out he's right. Turns out his sister is actually in a base down south, exactly where he threw his knife. We have this, it's freaking hilarious. So we have these moments where Cid keeps bullshitting. He keeps making up shit. But then everything he makes up actually ends up being right. So there's some theories that maybe he has some kind of, because like every Isekai has like some kind of OP ability. And people are thinking maybe he has like a game creator ability where basically whatever he says comes true. I haven't read the novels yet, so I don't know if they've touched up on that. In the manga, that isn't the case so far. He's just basically making a bunch of bullshit, and he just happens to get lucky enough that everything that he says actually ends up being true. So, yeah, the elves, his badass group right here, basically arrive and attack these bandits. And, you know, they're like, you know, we're the Shadow Garden. We bring doom upon the Diablos cult. And this guy, the leader of the bandits, is freaked out, and he's like, how did you learn about the Diablos cult? So this bullshit cult that Cid makes up on a whim actually ends up to be true. Is real. There's actually a Diablos cult. They're actually worshiping this demon, and they're actually infecting people with this disease. So I'm gonna skip stuff ahead. I'm not gonna like show every arc, but I just think this stuff is kind of funny. So Cid basically ends up defeating the bandits with his group, and he's like, so yeah, that's how our bandits hunting rescue operation came to an end. My sister's hands miraculously healed overnight, and she safely set off for the capital. Got to give it to the bandit guy, though. He was a real unit. Then we simply burrow even deeper. Even that's a one-liner I always wanted to use. So here's another funny thing that happens in this story, the series, this running gag, where Cid, since he thinks he's bullshitting everything, and he thinks everything is fake, he believes that all of his Shadow Garden members are indulging in his fantasy. He also believes that all of the villains that he fights are also kind of playing along. Like, he believes that they have their own fantasies that they're trying to indulge in. So while they're being completely serious, and Cid does not understand that. He thinks that they're also, he thinks that they're evil. Like he like this bandit group, he thinks it's still a bandit group. He doesn't know that's actually the Diablos cult. And even though the leader that he fought admitted to being a member of the leader of this branch of the Diablos cult, Cid thinks that, oh, there are bandits, but they're kind of playing up to my my fantasy. Like they're having a fantasy of their own where they're bandits pretending to be this some kind of cult worshiping this demon, which they actually are. But again, Cid does not. Cid thinks that they're playing around. He basically thinks everybody is playing around and indulging in this role play. And yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like Alpha and the rest kept adding more detail to the cult's backstories. So this bullshit idea that he kind of threw out about this cult keeps getting even more and more fleshed out, and because they're real, and these Shadow Gardens are actually gathering this real information on this group. But Cid thinks that they're just making more they're making up more story to kind of flesh out his role play. So he's like, you know, that it operates on a world scale, that they refer to the possessed as compatibles and are trying to capture them in their early stages. I was truly amazed at all the crap they came up with and ignored it all. After they said they were going to travel the world to investigate and sabotage the cults, maybe that was their way of saying they were getting tired of the charade. I'll admit, I feel a bit sentimental. So they decide to kind of split off to gather more information. Cid thinks that they're just tired of, you know, playing with his role play. So let's kind of break down a little bit more of Cid's character. So Cid is a guy who basically, as you kind of figure out by now, he has delusions. He wants to live in this fantasy where he is this eminence of shadow. He's this shadow character that mysteriously, you know, comes and saves the day, or kind of, and then disappears back into the shadows. So he has to make up these villains. So he in his head, he's making up these villains, but in real life, they're all real. But he also, I thought this part was kind of funny. So there's this he goes to this academy, and there's this girl there where she's like the popular girl. Everyone wants her. And Sid loses a bet, and basically his friends tell him that, you know, since you lost a bet, you have to go ask her out and basically get dumped in public. And Sid actually wants to do this. He actually thinks, oh, this is great. This is perfect. This is, you know, one of the moments I've been waiting for. Confessing to a popular girl and getting completely shut down. Truly an event befitting a mob character. So yeah, I've spent nights researching confessions methods for this day. If the plan succeeds, my mob rating will soar. I will be so much closer to becoming Shadow Eminence. Basically, he thinks that, like, oh, if he asks this girl out and then she shoots him down publicly, it'll make him look like a loser. And then because he's a loser, no one's going to be paying any attention to him. And now he can play this shadow character even more. Because now, you know, if the school doesn't pay attention to him, it's a lot easier for him to blend into the background. So we have this funny thing where he basically goes up to her and he asks her out. And he asks her out in the most cliche manner possible that you see in constant mangas and animes. But the thing is, he does this purposefully. He's it's funny how he describes it. I'm actually going to read all this. So, confession a la mob. So basically, you start off by stuttering. Mess up a bit to show fatigue from reciting. Keep changing the pitch while calling her name. Hunch forward at 60 degrees, almost as if you're about to fall ahead. Make sure your knees and hands are trembling. Keep a wandering gaze, but don't look up from the ground. No time for respite. Raise your hand straight up. Make note of the distance between you two at this moment. A modelly distance of 182 centimeters is ideal. Then full speed ahead and bow 90 degrees. Please go out with me. So he basically does the cliche anime asking out the crush. And he's so happy. He's like, nailed it. It's perfect. No need for fancy words. Make it sound like a question to express a lack of confidence. This is what a real mob character looks like. No, this is art. Well done. Truly well done of me. And she actually accepts. She's like, yeah, I'm so happy you asked. I'll be in your care from now on. And he's like, oh, shit. So she actually accepts. He doesn't want to be dating her because she's a popular girl. If he's dating her, he's going to become more popular, and that's going to hurt his shadow look that he wants. So he basically, we have funny moments where he kind of treats her like shit. Like, he doesn't like abuse her or anything like that. But he kind of gives her like backhanded compliments. While they're eating, he snatches her food from her and eats it himself, and he kind of makes a mess out of it when he does that. And she continues to basically make excuses for that. Like, she's like, oh, I didn't know you were so hungry. Go ahead and eat, and you know, stuff like that. And it turns out that there's a reason for it. The reason that she's actually doing this is because one of the instructors has a crush on her and basically is trying to get her hand in marriage. And she's using our hero to keep him away. But she's actually a bitch. So she plays the act of this sweet, innocent girl, but she's actually a bitch. And she's using our main character so she doesn't get forced into an arranged marriage. And I thought this was kind of funny. He basically was like, all right, you know what? I don't want to deal with you. Like, let's break up. And she's like, no, like, you're going to stay with me because I need you to keep this instructor away. You're a pathetic loser, but you're going to stay with me because I'm going to pay you money. She's like, there are no perfect people, only liars and fools. You're predictable scum, just the way I like it. You'll be rewarded for your troubles. Go on, pick it up. And then he's like, do I look like the guy who can be swayed by money? You do. Damn straight. So I like Sid is just freaking hilarious. Like, he's like, all right, you know, I'll pretend to be your shitty boyfriend. Just pay me. We have like another arc. She ends up getting kidnapped. He ends up saving her. She doesn't know it's him because he's wearing his shadow disguise. And then afterwards, she kind of plays the tsundere act. She's like the instructor. Actually turns out to be like the villain in that arc. So she's like, there's no reason to pretend to be lovers. But if you'd be okay with it, we could keep our relationship as it is for a while. At least I wouldn't mind. Hell no. Oh, just that straight blank hell no. And then that expression. Oh, I fucking love Sid. He's so hilarious. We also have like another funny moment where Sid, this is like in another future arc where there's this character who's going around killing people, and this character is claiming to be the Shadow Garden leader. And Cid's trying to figure out who it is. So him and his buddies are trying to run back home before curfew, and Cid needs to come up with an excuse to get his friends to leave him behind so he can go investigate, because he hears the sound of swords clashing against each other. So he's like, "Forgive me, friends. You must go on without me, because I need to take a shit." Like, what? We can't leave you behind. It's like, you have to. You must understand. I must settle this alone, right here, right now. Are you saying you're about to burst? Are you choosing your dignity over the curfew? I can't hold it for much longer. Go. Leave already. Cid. So be it. And then, you know, he goes off. But yeah, I just thought, like, Cid's just, he's a freaking hilarious character. And the thing is, he's kind of, I don't know how to describe him. Like, he's hilarious. He acts the fool. He acts like he's, you know, mediocre. He's just like, you know, average. But he has like a lot of these. He's actually intelligent in some regards. He's intelligent when it comes to fighting. He's intelligent when it comes to, you know, kind of getting what he wants in a sense. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. He's intelligent in certain regards, but then when it comes to, he's also very naive. Like, he's still completely oblivious to the fact that, you know, Shadow Garden is now a real thing, hunting down a real cult, and all this stuff. But when he puts on the mask and he plays the Shadow character, he's actually super badass, and we get a lot of cool, like, fight scenes with him. So he's like this mix of this hilarious, self-deprecating character, but also this super badass, tough guy. Yeah, you know, like, we are Shadow. We are Shadow Garden. We look in the shadows and we hunt the shadows. That is our sole purpose. Like, he has trained for so long to be this badass Shadow character that when he actually dons a mask and plays the part, he does it to perfection. But yeah, that's Eminence of the Shadow. I kind of glossed over some arcs because I don't want to spoil it. I highly recommend reading it. I will leave a link down to the manga adaptation, and I'll also leave a link down to where you can read a translated version of the light novel that the manga is based off of. I highly recommend reading this series. This series is freaking amazing. It's hilarious. Cid is a great character. I fucking love him. I love reading his adventures. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys enjoy my my manga spotlights? I'm not getting the most views out of it. I get more views from the comic book stuff, but I'm kind of burnt out on comic books. I did go to the comic book store recently, as in today, at the time of this recording. So maybe I'll do a comic book review somewhat soon, maybe next week or something. We'll see. But I'll be honest with you guys, I'm kind of burnt out on comics. Comics are just, there's nothing out there good enough that's grabbing my attention and grabbing my interest. Like, the stuff that I have now, they're okay, but it's stuff that I've already like reviewed. Like, it's Justice League Dark, it's Red Sonja, it's Gretel. I ordered the Crow versus that Hack Slash. I had no idea there was another Hack Slash. That's awesome. I haven't read it yet, but I will. Maybe I'll do a review on that. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys like my manga reviews? They're not even really reviews. They're more like spotlights. But I hope you guys enjoy them, because I will be doing more of them. Because again, I'm one of those, I don't want to do stuff that I don't enjoy just for the views. I rather do stuff that I enjoy, and hopefully the views will come. But if they don't, then at least I'm still doing something I enjoy. And I'm enjoying manga right now, way more than I am comic books. So that's why I'm doing more manga stuff lately. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you guys haven't already. Please feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. So if you guys read this, if not, does watching this make you guys want to read it? Are there any mangas out there you guys recommend? It doesn't have to be an Isekai. If there's anything out there that you guys recommend, let me know. And maybe I'll do a spotlight on it one of these days. But yeah, so please subscribe if you guys haven't already. Hit the bell for notification. If you guys can share this with friends, family, people who enjoy manga, just kind of help grow the channel in that regard. That would be amazing. But just the fact that you guys are watching this already means a lot to me. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.